All right, guys, we're on to lesson number 2, which is all about writing a polynomial in standard form. Now, when we're writing the polynomial in standard form, in order to write it in the correct standard form, remembering that this standard form means that it goes from biggest exponent to smallest, right? Biggest exponent to smallest, right? Well, in order to do that, we need to be able to determine which exponents have which, right? Or excuse me, which terms have what exponents so that we can get them in order, all right? And essentially what you're doing is you're determining each term as a monomial and figuring out the degree of it. Well, I think the easiest way to do that, we talks about right here in the instructions, identify the degree, exponent of the variable of each term, and then put in order from largest to smallest. All right, don't forget, all right, and this is key, don't forget to move the sign in front of each term. So if it's a positive or negative, that needs to go with it. Now, when we do this, all right, I think it's easiest to first divide your terms up. So anywhere you see a plus or a minus sign, put a little slash so that you can see each term individually. So let's take a look at example A, and I'll show you what I mean. So example A says 15x minus x to the third power plus 3. So the first thing I want to do is determine how many different terms do I have. Well, in order to do that, I'm going to put a slash in front of any plus or minus signs I see. So first minus sign I see right there. So I'm going to put a slash in front of it. So my first term is 15x. The next plus or minus sign I see is the plus right here. So I'm going to put a slash in front of that. So my second term is negative x to the third. And then my third term is positive 3. That just helps me see each term individually a little clearer. So then I need to determine which one has the biggest exponent. Well, if you're looking at it, you probably are noticing that, hey, this negative x to the third has the biggest exponent. So that's going to be my first term. So negative x to the third, because I need to take the negative sign with it. Then I need to look for my next biggest term. Well, I've got a 15x, and then I have no variable. Well, I mentioned earlier in the vocab that when you have no variable on it, that's always going to be the last term. Always. So if it's just a number, a constant, it's going to end up as your last term, which means the 15x is going to be the next term. So again, we need to move it and the sign in front of it. Well, you're probably saying, hey, there's no sign listed in front of 15x. Well, that means it is a positive 15x. So we're going to put plus 15x. And then my last term is the positive 3, and that goes at the end. So this polynomial in standard form is negative x to the third plus 15x plus 3. All right, well, let's take a look at another example here. Let's try example B. So example B says 4 minus 9z. So first step, go in and divide up your terms. So I see a minus sign right here, and I only have two terms. My first term is 4, and my second term is negative 9z. Well, I notice that 4 is a constant, so I know that's my last term. So that means that negative 9z has to be my first term. So negative 9z is first, and then my 4, it is a positive 4, so that is plus 4. So negative 9z plus 4 would be the polynomial written in standard form. Now this polynomial has exactly two terms, so that would make it a binomial. So just something to remember. So I'd encourage you now at this point to try example C on your own, then check your answer with mine. So example C says t squared minus t to the third minus 10t. So first thing I want to do, go in and divide up my terms by putting slashes in front of any plus or minus signs that I see. So first minus sign I see is right here. There's my slash, so my first term is t squared. Next sign I see is another minus sign. That's right there, so there's my next slash. Negative t to the third is my second term, and then negative 10t is my third term. So three terms, that means it is a trinomial. Now again, I'm looking for the one with the biggest exponent. Again, I notice that negative t to the third is the biggest exponent, so that's going to become my first term, because 3 is the biggest exponent. Now my next biggest term would be the t squared, because 2 is the next biggest exponent listed. So that is again a positive t squared, so I'm going to put plus t squared. And then my last term of negative 10t would be the last one I list, so that's minus 10t. So my final answer of this polynomial in standard form is negative t to the third plus t squared minus 10t. And then example D, that's my last one that I need to take a look at. All right, I'd encourage you to try that one on your own, then check your answer with mine. So example D says 2.8x plus x to the third. Again, any plus or minus signs, put a slash. So a slash right here. I've got exactly 2 terms, so this is a binomial. My term with the biggest exponent is this x to the third, so it's going to go first, and it is positive, so I'm just going to write x to the third. And then my next term is this positive 2.8x, so that is plus 2.8x. So x to the third plus 2.8x is this binomial in standard form. All right, well, if you have any questions on how to get a polynomial into standard form, please let me know. But otherwise, you should have what you need to continue on to the next lesson.